Hey everyone, and welcome to the second and final part of the series all about Barbie in the Nutcracker. In the last video we explored the origins of the Nutcracker story. I highly recommend watching that one before this one. Seriously, this won't make a lot of sense otherwise. All caught up? Excellent. Now it's time to see what some of the major similarities and differences are between our beloved 2001 movie Barbie and the Nutcracker and its origins. First of all, it seems that Barbie and the Nutcracker heavily draws on the ballet dances. They're going as far as to have actual parts of choreography in there and use excerpts of the Tchaikovsky score. The ballet sequences were performed by real ballet dancers, but story-wise it really took some liberties because hey, anything is possible, right? Let's list off these similarities and differences. The movie doesn't start off with Clara and Fritz, but rather with Barbie and her younger sister rehearsing a dance from the Nutcracker. When Shelly can't seem to perform the dance properly, Barbie starts telling her the story of the Nutcracker, which will grant Shelly the magical power to perform the dance perfectly afterwards, because anything is possible. They are dancing to Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, as well as making some of those same steps that signify the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. Fritz is now called Tommy. Clara is still Clara. They actually live with Drosselmeyer, who is their grandfather, because they're orphans. They did keep the name Drosselmeyer though, so a point for that. The Nutcracker is given to Clara only, by her aunt Elizabeth, who is completely new in the Nutcracker lore. Clara is 16 years old. Clara is considered a dreamer. When Elizabeth arrives, it's 7:38 p.m. and Drosselmeyer sighs 22 minutes early. This may be a reference to the 8 o'clock when Drosselmeyer appears in the ballet. Clara has a bauble of the Sugar Plum Fairy. Her mother gave it to her when Clara saw her first ballet. Because of its child-friendly nature, the Nutcracker is usually the first ballet kids see. I'll give it a point for that for accuracy. Gingerbread has been eaten, not by mice though, but by Tommy. Grandfather Drosselmeyer retains nothing of his playful, mysterious persona. Although Aunt Elizabeth could be described as such. Tommy is obsessed with his army dolls. Aunt Elizabeth is the one handing out the gifts. Really makes me think she's supposed to be the Godfather Drosselmeyer character in this movie. Tommy and Clara get into a fight over the Nutcracker. But Tommy breaks the Nutcracker's arm by pulling too hard on him, not the Nutcracker's mouth by cracking a nut that is too big. Clara speaks gently to the Nutcracker and makeshift mends him with a ribbon, at which point she senses life in him. Clara falls asleep in the living room with the Nutcracker beside her. No Drosselmeyer on top of the clock. Instead, the owl comes alive. Seriously, everyone besides Drosselmeyer is Drosselmeyer. The mice attack at midnight. The Mouse King only has one head. Almost disappointing at this point. The battle ensues similarly, albeit visually less gruesome. Clara shrinks, which does happen in the ballet, but not in the books. The shoe fling! The shoe fling! The epic shoe fling! Clara actually has motive to go along with this complete random stranger, to get back to her original size. She's actually hesitant at first and asks how to get back home.
Ready?
This is crazy.
Magical locket that can teleport her home at literally any time. In the beginning of their journey, they come across snowflakes that dance around them. They perform Waltz of the Snowflakes to the Tchaikovsky counterpart. One snowflake stands out from the rest by being adorably clumsy, I guess? She looks a lot like Shelly and her dance moves match her too. The Waltz of the Snowflakes happens around 23 minutes into the movie, which is not exactly the halfway point. This world is called Partinia instead of Doll Kingdom or Land of Sweets. Everything is candy related. At this point, the Mouse King should have already been killed by the Nutcracker. Alas, he isn't. Instead, the Sugar Plum Princess is supposed to be the one to defeat him. Yes, Sugar Plum Princess. The Mouse King has a silly bat assistant called Pim. Gingerbread Village, which is called Gingerbreadville in the original book. Close enough. In the book, Doll Kingdom is very beautiful and amazing. I mean, it still is in the movie, but the tyranny of the Mouse King is very palpable. Marzipan the Horse, Peppermint Girl, and Gingerbread Boy are all new additions to the Nutcracker lore. The Nutcracker hides for a long time that he is the prince of this land. The prince is called Eric. People don't really like the prince here. The backstory of the Mouse King is completely different. The king gave his throne to his royal advisor, the Mouse King, which, well, this may be a bit far-fetched, but I just want to note that it reminds me of Petapa handing off his duties to his assistant. Because the Mouse King still lives in this movie, the entire plot remains tense and fast-paced until the end. Major Mint and Captain Candy are new additions to the cast as well. Although Captain Candy does remind me of the Arabian coffee people, and Major Mint especially carries a resemblance to Fritz's Colonel, who had the silver saber that Major Mint carries. Some princess is not the ruler here, like the Sugar Plum Fairy is in the Ballet. Instead, it seems they want to portray her as this nameless higher power that the original book talked about, which I will give it a point for. But in the book, this entity struck fear into people's hearts, whereas here it seems like she's a savior. I like the similarity of the Sugar Plum Princess to the status symbol the Sugar Plum Fairy is nowadays, this symbol of hope. Nutcracker's arm detaches. There's the morbidity of the original. Rock giant. Clara figures out pretty fast that the Nutcracker is Prince Eric and immediately calls him out on it. Clara's unwavering faith in the Nutcracker. There is a sea, but instead of rosy and nice, it's dark and stormy, and it's quite the ordeal to cross. The Waltz of the Flowers is performed by seemingly the same creatures as the snowflakes, which I think is very fitting since the song and song title are eerily similar to each other too. There is a carriage that helps them cross the sea, but it's drawn by marzipan instead of 2 golden dolphins. The flower fairies offer Clara a chair of sorts to sit on. The prince's 4 sisters are nowhere to be seen in this movie. The castle is filled with people, but the circumstances of how they came to be there are different. Clara has a way stronger personality than Marie. The prince is the one who defeats the Mouse King in the end. The Mouse King doesn't die. Clara's love is what returns the Nutcracker back to his human form. And this is most definitely the biggest difference. Clara is the Sugar Plum Princess. After the Mouse King is defeated and Prince Eric is back to his old self, festivities ensue. The festivities celebrate Prince Eric mostly though. We very clearly see the Russian candy cane dance performed, including the accompanying Tchaikovsky music and the steps that signify that part of the ballet. Can I just say that I love how much time they spent on that Russian candy cane dance in the movie. It's one of my favorite parts, truly. The pas de deux is performed. But it's not the Sugar Plum Fairy and her cavalier, but instead Prince Eric and Clara, who I guess is the Sugar Plum Fairy, princess? Yeah, still counting that one as a difference. People create a happy tumult about the prince. Clara fades away after the pas de deux because the Mouse King opens the locket, which may be different to how the ballet ends, but I think it's supposed to be a reference to how Marie falls asleep in the castle and wakes up back home, which I count as a big similarity. See, the similarities and differences are really close together, and I did not intentionally make it so. That's just how it worked out. It does make a lot of sense to me though, because the movie is equal parts different as it is similar. They really paid homage to the original story while creating their own Barbie verse within it. Especially the music and the ballet parts are extremely similar, while plot progression is vastly different. That about does it for this video. I hope you learned something and that it was enjoyable. I'll be leaving you with some fun facts on screen. Thank you so much for watching. Doei doei!